Darren here with Creativity Unleashed, and in this video I just wanted to show you guys the solar hot water heater I just installed. For quite a few years I've been looking into all the different alternative energies. We run everything here on solar power, basically all the electric consumption and needs. We have our own well, and we're mostly off-grid, but for the longest time we've still been paying for propane, which is over $2 a gallon, to heat the water in just traditional tanked hot water heaters. And that had gotten pretty expensive, and I looked into this and I was able to buy one of these new for $300. This one has the 20 tubes, and one of the advantages of the tube systems is this one, if you're not familiar with, is a non-pressurized unit. It has glass on the inside and outside, and it has a vacuum seal. So there's a glass tube that has a coating, absorbs the sunlight, and then an outer tube that has a vacuum pulled on it, so that the sunlight, no matter as it sweeps through in the daytime, as the sun starts early in the morning and goes down at night, the rays of the sun hit the tubes at a direct angle, which transfers the heat very efficiently. They say these are about 90% efficient, and I definitely agree. This is able to boil the water in the tank after a few days if you don't use any of the water. This one is supposed to be good for about 7 people. We've had about 5 people using it, and it's been too hot to be able to hold your hand under after everyone's taken a shower, so it's definitely works really well. This system is fed by a tank here, since it's not one that you can't just plug in like your 40 psi. This can only take like 3 psi or so of water, or the tubes would rupture. And they make a model that has the copper coil running through it, and so then you just run your water through that and it absorbs the temperature that's in the tank. But this particular one, it just uses gravity, and then you use a booster pump, a pressurizing pump, to pressurize the water in your house. So yeah, so far we've had it in about a week, and it's been working great. Now you're probably going to also need a mixing valve system that mixes the cold with the hot to get the desired temperature, so someone wouldn't accidentally get scalded when they're taking a shower, turn on the hot, and it comes out almost boiling. It wouldn't be ideal. So there's 2 cases of these evacuated tubes here, and so it looks like there's 20 in this box right here. We have the hardware for the stand. Got the bolts and stuff under here. Well, I guess we'll get into that in a little bit. It looks like it's all stainless steel. Nope, I don't feel any magnetism to it, which is a very good sign. So right here we got it screwed together. We don't have it really tightened down. We just took a few minutes to figure out where everything goes and which side things go on, the braces and all. So yeah, it looks good. So here's just some of the glass tubes up closer. You can see that they do have the double layers of glass in there with the material that absorbs the sun, and they just slide up in here, and it's actually just like a compression seal. You just put soap on it and slip them in. Incredibly simple. I thought it would have been a little harder. Right here we have the check valve, and then that goes up to a shut-off valve, as well as there is a drain valve on the tank, which you can get really hot water out of. And then over here, right here is the vent pipe, and that goes up a little bit past the storage tank heights. And here's the outline. Like I was saying, it's up higher so that if it wasn't getting fed new water, it would just reach this level and stop feeding it, stop getting hot water out, and it would protect the tubes from not having water in them, which will cause these particular type to explode because they'll get so hot. So there's the system. Definitely recommend it. Super cool. So this line right there, it comes off the roof, and that's the hot water from the solar hot water heater. Now the water I've measured at over 170 degrees. I think it can get near 200 if you were gone a few days. This is a pressurizing pump. Here is the part, and just so you're familiar with, to bleed air out. You can take this off and it'll get the air out of the pump when it's new. And then under here you have the setting for lift, so like to what pressure it pressurizes. This is good up to 3 stories, it says. And this is designed to take the high temperature environment of the hot water. Here's the flow through sensor that as the water starts being moving, it turns it on, and you have a switch there that tells the pump to turn on. Of course, check valve, and it comes around here to the thermostatic mixing valve. This is a solar designed pretty much for solar hot water systems. It works extremely well. I put all of these like universal, I think, connectors together on it so that it'd be easy to take off and clean out the little mesh filters it has inside. Since we use well water, we might have to do that at some point, likely. So that should make it easy. So here's the cold water coming in, hot water, and the mixed water coming out there. And super easy to just set the temperature for whatever you want, and works incredibly well. And then you have perfect hot water from the sun. So I have been utterly astounded by the solar hot water heater. The amount of energy that the hot water heater can collect from the sun each day is amazing. You can have like 7 people showering off of it, no problem whatsoever. They recommended potentially making it go through a flow-through hot water heater, so in case it wasn't hot enough, it could bring it up to temperature. At least where we're at, that is definitely not needed. We're not even insulating any of the pipes. We're in the tropics. It just doesn't make sense to insulate. You sometimes get pests and bugs in the insulation around tubing. It's just not really worth it. The extra cost just not necessary, especially when the hot water is free. So if you lived in the north where you have cold temperatures, they still can work well, I guess. Obviously the sun angle might not be quite as good at certain times of the year. And you'd definitely want to probably insulate the pipes better. But besides that, really great. The whole system probably came out to about $700-800 by the time you get everything calculated. The extra storage tank, the little water tower I built, and the pressurizing pump, thermostatic mixing valve, and the tubing, as well as the solar heater itself. I find it pretty obscene how expensive in a lot of the developed world the price for these solar hot water heaters are. I think it's probably because of the green energy thing that they just charge way more, or the government getting involved with incentives and stuff makes them really expensive. But for us, the payoff time should be under a year, right at about a year. And then each year after that, we should be saving $700-800 of energy, which is great for the environment as well as for us, and we're able to live a lot more conveniently. And it's hotter water, better water, and it actually feels better. Something about it, I think, heated from the sun, it just feels better when you take a shower. Can't really explain exactly why, but it does. And another option to consider if you don't have the whereabouts to install one is to consider one of the heat pump hot water heaters. It's also a very good option if you are just trying to convert or lower your costs. The heat pump options usually consume under a couple dollars a month of energy and do an incredible good job. My brother has one here in the States, and I'll show you that real quick just so you can see. So here is the heat pump hot water heater. This thing is simply like an air conditioner or refrigerator where it has a compressor inside of it. It sucks the air through and blows it out the other way, and it sucks the heat out of the air and transfers it to the water, and it's multiple times more efficient than just like an electric water heater or even gas one, since it's just pulling the heat out of the air, transferring it, and it's like air conditioning here in the utility room, which is quite convenient in the summer. Really cold times of the year, you can just run it on its heating element and it will cost you just like a normal hot water heater would cost. But here in Kentucky, that's a little bit more rare that you have to do that, since the winters are more not too cold. But yeah, very good system as well, and they tend to only cost a few dollars a month to operate. So let me know if you're interested in knowing more about these hybrid hot water heaters, and might be able to do another video on that.